Of New York and New Jersey have declared a state of emergency in their states. This as record-breaking rains and flooding from Tropical Storm Ida have left at least 18 people dead. Our correspondent William Denslow is in New York. He joins us now live. So, Will, I've seen images of the extent of this damage. How's it looking today?
Well, Shahad, it's been a bright, sunny and beautiful day here in New York City, but the impact of that deluge of rain that the city received overnight still being felt. Subway stations, many of them remain suspended. Services on train lines very much disrupted. And just to put into perspective how much rain fell overnight, well, just over a week ago when Tropical Storm Henri hit New York City, a record was broken for the most amount of rain to ever fall in a single hour in New York City. That was just shy of 2 inches of rain. Well, on Wednesday evening here in New York City, that record was shattered. Over 3 inches of rain falling in New York City's Central Park in a single hour. That prompted the National Weather Service for the first time ever to put in place a flash flood emergency for the city of New York. There was flooding seen across the city. A travel ban was put in place until 5 a.m. local time. So a huge scale of disruption. And here into Thursday, yes, the rain has stopped, but plenty of damage. So many basements flooded across the city, people pumping that water out of their homes and businesses. And of course, thousands of people, not only in New York, but also New Jersey and Pennsylvania, without power as well.
Yes, of course, the subway system is pretty important for New Yorkers to get around. How long will it take to actually clear out this water and get things back on track?
Well, essentially, that's something that is a work in progress. A lot of the lines are still operational, but of course, especially in the outer boroughs, which were more exposed, there is plenty that more still needs to be done. And this was something that was addressed by New York's Governor Kathy Hochul, said that essentially the infrastructure is not sufficient. Yes, in the wake of hurricanes in the past, steps have been made to protect this city, but more needs to be done, considering the fact that this is a cliche perhaps, but a iconic concrete jungle. She said that considering the fact that flash floods, extreme weather events are expected to happen with more ferocity and more regularity in years ahead, more needs to be done to help remove all that water from these flash floods, from the amount of concrete, from the concrete in the pavements here in New York City. So she is calling for more investment to be put in place to help better mitigate these kind of events.
Yeah, and of course, well, we see 150,000 homes or so without electricity. As you say, some people have been displaced. How is the city dealing with all of that?
It's a huge concern as the city's really trying to shake off what happened very quickly. People weren't expecting quite the level of flash flooding. A state of emergency only came into place at about 11:30 p.m. after the rain had very much began in earnest. This is something that took many by surprise. A travel ban was put in place until 5 a.m. local time, but many people were already out on the streets in their cars and got caught in that huge amount of flooding. There are some incredibly striking images of cars without the traction on the ground anymore because of that surface water to be able to get around. People trapped on subways as these stations began to flood with water. So a huge amount of panic. Officials have lauded the efforts from bus drivers to first responders for their efforts to help get people to safety. Kathy Hochul, the governor, again saying that preparedness is something that needs to be improved in the future. Yes, early warning systems have improved, but she says that more still needs to be done going forward, considering the fact that Ida didn't make landfall here in New York or even the East Coast. It made landfall several days ago in Louisiana on the Gulf Coast, bringing with it 150-mile-an-hour winds. That hurricane was, of course, downgraded, but people knew that it was coming towards the northeast and had the potential of bringing high levels of rain. What they didn't expect was quite the ferocity that it brought with it. Officials say that that's something they desperately need to address going forward.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Thanks for the update. Appreciate it. William Denslow is our correspondent in New York.